Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. I was about to say greetings in Urdu, but I forgot how to do it. So welcome, Mumtaz, to Consulting Leaders. Happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Very pleased to be here.
Let's jump straight into it. Yeah, that's how we say. Thank you.
Yeah.
What pulled you into change management, Mumtaz?
So I first dipped my toes into change management while working in a post-secondary environment. The university that I was working with was going through a massive transformation at the time. They were implementing a new enterprise resource planning system, or ERP system. And I joined the project's change management team in a training capacity at the time. So that's where I got to learn from the pros, seasoned consultants in change management from some of the big firms like PwC and IBM. So I was really lucky to be coached and mentored by the best in change management. And honestly, that's when I caught the bug. And I thought, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my career. So fast forward, after my second child and maternity leave, I made a bold move. I decided to resign from my full-time job at the university and to go solo as an independent consultant. And the fun twist is that the university actually invited me back as a consultant to finish the project work. There was some sustainment work that was still ongoing, and that became my first official gig. So here we are. So it was my academic roots, I would say, though, that kind of pushed me in this direction. So I did a social sciences degree in science and technology studies, its impact on society. And I think that really helped set me up for success in this field. But the fun fact is that I almost trained to become a computer or software engineer, as all good Pakistanis do. But I hated it. I was not wanting to sit behind a computer for the rest of my life. So I switched to social sciences. And honestly, that's why I'm here today. I'm so grateful that I made that change when I did. So coming back to the consulting story, after a few gigs and building a solid client roster, my husband jumped in to the business as well. And his background was with the big firms, working for PwC and Accenture. And together we decided to build a firm focused on change management. And that's how Pragilis was born. So today we've been running the business for about 15 years and we're loving every minute of it.
So many things to double down on here. So first of all, I don't want to be stereotypical about the Pakistani culture. I'm only saying this because I'm extremely good friend with the Pakistani myself. But I think the only path for the expat parents, at least, is for their children to become doctors or engineers or lawyers. There is no other path. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I can vouch on what you just said around change management, Mumtaz.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think easily 50% of the consultants I talk to, they left, wanted to go on their own, but they actually get hired usually at a much interesting, higher price rate by their existing employer who are like, no, please don't leave. Help us a bit more here. Then you can develop the practice like this. Tell me more about running a consulting practice with your husband. How does that go?
Yeah, so it works well because we make sure we stay in each lane, right? We have separate and distinct lanes within our business. So my husband, Shaheen, he runs the operations side, the finance side, the technical side, the technology side of our business. He's the business development lead within our company. So he's the one seeking out new business, new clients, creating proposals, things like that. My work is on the delivery side. So I lead our change practice. So I make sure I'm engaging with the clients properly, appropriately, bringing on the consultants, the teams to support that work from an engagement perspective, delivering, to a quality standard that, that we expect. So that's really how we make it work, is if we have separate and distinct lanes. I mean, we do come together to talk about the business and how it's operating and running, where we need to make improvements, where we could be more efficient, but we make sure that we we keep it to that and not try to, get into each other's lanes, because that's where you can, often get into the conflict. We also make sure there's clear boundaries between work and personal. We do our best not to bring Pragilis back to the dinner table, although I'm the one who usually makes that mistake of bringing up business at the dinner table. But we're good, and we respect those boundaries so that it doesn't creep into our personal lives too much.
Think of the Alex Hormozi and Leila Hormozi couple. I don't know if they are as renowned in Canada than they are in the US. But like, those are the big. So those are so basically Alex Hormozi is a guy who was a gym guru, and he said he sold a gym agency for 42 million a few years ago, and now he's launched an advisory practice. All this he did with his wife, and that's kind of the same splits.
Interesting.
Huge fan of him. Yeah. Closing the parenthesis. Tell us a bit more about what you do exactly. What is the problem that you solve together with your husband?
Yeah. So I like to say that people fuel is the change fuel. So in other words, people power change. So without buy-in and support, even the best strategy is going to stall, right? So change simply won't stick. So the truth is that change management is essentially a risk management exercise in executive terms. It's all about reducing the people-related and adoption risks that can derail strategy. So what do we solve? We help leaders implement change successfully and make sure it sticks so the organization actually sees the outcomes and benefits promised. And this matters because change is constant, complex, and often beyond leadership control. And the kicker is that most employees don't actually trust organizational change. They're skeptical, they're burned by past decisions, wary of future ones. So it's an uphill battle to get employees bought into change these days. And Gartner backs this up with a stat: only 32% of leaders globally get employees to adopt changes in a healthy way. And that's a huge gap. And that's exactly where we come in. So at the end of the day, strategy doesn't fail because it's wrong. It fails because people aren't brought along for the ride. So when leaders invest in the people side of change, they turn that resistance into momentum and make transformations stick.
Without a shadow of a doubt, the number one problem that I was facing as a consultant at PwC.
Interesting.
You come in, as a consultant into an enterprise level company, right? You come in, you have a solid business case, you're paid a lot of money, and things stall, things don't work as well as possible, things take time to implement, simply because people are resistant to change. And sometimes rightfully so. So very, very interesting topic in my opinion. How do you put some dollar sign on it though, Mumtaz? Because the first thing I'm thinking when I hear change management is, sure, you're going to come in, make the employees understand that this is important, make them adopt the new technology, ERP, to mention the university that you mentioned. But how do you make the business case for what you need on top of the SAP implementation team is someone who will take care of implementing change management? How do you do that case?
Yeah, so one of the first things we do is we talk to the executives who are bringing us in about the ROI, the return on investment they're expecting as a result of this change effort. And then we ask them how much of that ROI is dependent on people adopting and sustaining the change. And more often than not, the number is a pretty healthy number, like 50% or more, right? So if you're investing millions of dollars into a new system like an SAP, which is such a large, complex system, it's then incumbent upon that executive to say, you know what, we need to make a fairly substantial investment then on the people side and making sure people actually understand this new system, the associated processes, what needs to change in their day-to-day. So a healthy amount typically is probably 10 to 15% of that project's budget. And research organizations like ProSci, which is a research organization around change management, says that when you invest in change management and implement change successfully, you're actually 6 times more successful in gaining those benefits and seeing those benefits being realized. So So that's usually the business case we put in front of executives. Is so you're investing millions of dollars into this initiative. So much of that ROI is dependent on people adopting and sustaining the change. It's kind of, commonsensical then to make sure that you're investing in the people side of it and making sure that it's well managed.
It's like a pretty easy sell indeed. That would make
I hope
sense.
so. Yeah.
So I think you've already alluded to that, but with the work that you started doing for the university when you switched to third-party consultants,
Yep.
who do you typically help with change management? Like, who is it that you help exactly?
Yeah, so our sweet spot is usually the C-suite in large corporate environments. Both my husband and I were originally from Calgary, which is an energy and predominantly an energy industry there. So we came from large corporate environments. We now live in Vancouver, and the same exists here, large corporate environments, a lot of government, a lot of public sector, more variety in terms of industry. And we work in a variety of industries now with our work in Vancouver. So it's the C-suite in large corporate environments that we tend to work with. And most often it's the CIO, the Chief Information Officer, or this Chief Human Resource Officer, CHRO, who picks up the phone and calls us. And it's because big changes are usually tech-driven, or the people team sees the ripple effect on employees and really want to get ahead of it. So it's usually one of those two folks. And these leaders aren't just the sponsors, they're typically the champions of the change. So we give them a clear role in the strategy so that they can lead from the front and really help to make that transformation stick inside the organization. And the reason we work with the C-suite is because they're the ultimate decision makers. When they are on board, the sales cycle is much faster, the strategy is stronger, and the change actually happens. So that's usually our sort of sweet spot with clients.
How do you reach those people? I can only imagine that everybody wants to get a hold of the C-suite members, right? Everybody wants to help or sell something to the C-suite. So what has worked for you, your husband, and Pragilis to consistently, let's not even talk about sales yet, just attract the attention of the right decision maker? Because I'm pretty sure that middle management, a lot of people will be convinced that change management a project around change management must be led. Like getting a hold of that C-suite executive and showing them the value, making the business case, and then selling is another whole other ball game. So how do you market?
Yeah, so when we first got started, we relied on our existing roster of clients and contacts. And that strategy really still holds today, right? So the people that have known us, worked with us previously, either via our previous work before Pragilis or other means, those are the people that we reach out to first, because they're the ones that trust us, right? And have some level of trust, and either can, are eager to work with us again, or can refer us to others within their network. So that's usually where we start, is with those folks that we already know and trust us, have worked with us previously, can bring us in again. We also do reach out directly via LinkedIn to executives in some of our target companies and industries, share with them, what we do, what value we offer, and try our hand that way as well. A lot of times we'll look at, okay, who are our first level connections, and then, reach out to people that they know to help kind of build that connection and trust. But our business is largely built around word of mouth referral, and like that stream level sort of, okay, we did get some good work here. Now that client's referred us to another client, either in the same industry or similar industry, corollary industry, and we can now work with them there. Sometimes clients also move around, right? The CIO we worked with previously at one organization is somewhere else now, wants to do the same thing, brings us in again. So that's typically how we reach out to them.
Oh, I like that a lot. Most B2B coaches and consultants I talk to, Mumtaz, are 100% relying on referrals. And so the traditional question is like, what happens when you don't get a referral? And this is where usually businesses stall and face the family cycles and so on. I like that you played on your strength, which is word of mouth and referrals. I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into this strategy on LinkedIn because this is good. So outreach, cool. You make it smart though. You don't reach out to people you don't know just yet. You reach out first to the first degree connections that you have. Tell us a bit more about this. What does the outreach look like? What's the success rate of this? Does it get you started a conversation on LinkedIn? Does it get you a call? Like, can you tell us a bit more about this marketing acquisition channel? Because that's super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So we use LinkedIn actively, like all the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
We have a team member who that's all she does is
Okay.
making sure we're sharing on LinkedIn thought leadership, updates around what we're doing in Pragilis, um, things like that. So we're very active there. We also share a video series called Agility Hacks, where we share a hack around change management, a short 1 to 2 minute video hack and strategy or tip around change management. And that's really gained traction. I get people stop me and be like, "Oh, you're the agility hacks person on the street." So they recognize that. So we certainly have
That's
brand
good.
awareness due to that LinkedIn campaign that we've been actively running for probably the last close to 10 years. And then in terms of outreach, we also basically have an engine behind that. We have a team member devoted to reaching out to our ideal clients. A lot of times we do a bit of research to understand, okay, is this an organization that's going through a lot of change at the moment, about to embark on some big change? Maybe that's our opportunity to capture their attention, see if they have a need. We tend not to be very pushy or salesy in our messages. We really talk about the value and the outcomes around change management in executive terms for them to understand. But not all of our strategy is focused on LinkedIn either. We're also part of executive forums and councils. So I'm a board governor with the BC Business Council. So there I have the opportunity and the privilege of meeting regularly with BC's biggest companies and leaders of those companies and executives. We also take part in other executive forums, CHRO, CIO forums, and talk directly, because that's a lot of the times that's the big piece, is the relationship piece. People who know you to some extent will then trust you and will bring you in to those organizations. So it's sort of a multi-pronged approach, but LinkedIn is very much at the basis of it. It usually takes a few knocks on the door via LinkedIn, a few messages, and we have like a messaging campaign that we take our prospective clients through before something does come through. But yeah, we have to be consistent, persistent, following up all the time with that. So it's a lot of work, but can pay off when you land one or two. And that's really what we're looking for. We're not looking for hundreds of consulting engagements in a year. We're looking for a handful, right? 2 to 3 big consulting engagements in a year, because our engagements can typically last sometimes multiple years with a client. Really sets us up for success and helps us stay afloat.
Yeah. Okay, there are so many golden nuggets of knowledge in here. So having the end goal in mind is great. Too many times do I ask the question of like, what's the goal? 6 months down the line, how many leads, how many clients, like where do you want to be? Oh, that's a good question. I'm like, right, it is. You should be asking yourself that. So having the goal in mind is super important. What I like about, and here we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of marketing, but that's my jam. I can't help but getting into that. You're mixing 2 acquisition channels, which are
Yes.
purposefully networking, right? Because for me, just relying on inbound referrals is not enough. You're strategically networking and using LinkedIn as a platform as well as an enhancer. You have the memberships in those different associations with just
Yes.
add on top, which makes so much sense. I think the lesson here for the B2B coaches and consultants is play on your strength. If you really want to still rely on referral, that's fine. Find a way to put that on steroids. and to actively get referrals, to actively get referral partners. And like, don't be afraid to actually officialize this, draft referrals agreements. Like, this can make so much sense. Not everybody likes to pay a fee to get a referral, which I understand, but then you can do so much more, like a favor for a favor. Usually when you send a referral to someone, you get an IOU, which is very valuable in the consulting space. So I love that you're playing this game to the fullest with LinkedIn, warm network, associations, and making sure that you keep that afloat to reach the handful of engagements, significant engagements each and every year. It was a bit long, but I thought it was a very valuable one.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about how you move from that to an actual conversation with the prospects, the champions within the C-suite executive levels, and the letter of engagement, SOW, we rock and roll. Like, what does the sales motion look like for you, Mumtaz?
Yeah, so when we're in that first conversation with clients and prospective clients who want to work with us, we tend to showcase our proven system, our transformation engine framework. So this is not just a theory, it's steeped and marinated in best practices and change management. And it's that framework that helps leaders through every critical element of change management. So they capture that ROI that I talked about, the benefits really stick. So that's what we do, is we talk about our system, how we're going to take them through that process, that journey, and present that proposal to them. So we talked about, word of mouth referrals. We built those strong relationships. Clients, they bring us along as they move along, to move to new organizations. That trust part is gold. But the real differentiator, I think, for us is that we don't sell hours, we sell outcomes. So we're not positioning ourselves as independent consultants or a recruitment firm. We're a strategic partner focused on results, and so we price accordingly with that. One of my favorite books around this and around this concept is FreshBooks founder Mike McDermott. He wrote a book called Breaking the Time Barrier. And in there, he talks about, in one of the quotes, is clients don't buy time, they buy results. So that's the mindset we live by. When you frame your value around outcomes, you stop being a commodity and start being indispensable. So because the C-suite really cares, right? Doesn't care how many hours you're working. They care about impact. They care about speed. They care about measurable success, right? So that's what helps us to really shorten the sales cycle and wins trust in some of these high stakes, complex environments we're working in with our ideal clients.
I love this, and far from me the idea of thinking I'm smarter than the author of this book. I would just do a little tweak, which is people do buy time, but then it's a commodity. And as a consultant, this is exactly what you don't want to be. So being project-based, being results-based is the best way to sell your product, as long as you can achieve the results that you say you can achieve, obviously.
Yes.
That's a small tweak, but for me, that's the right strategic positioning.
Why are you a consultant? Otherwise, you have to deliver results, right?
Right. So, that's so funny. When I was at PwC, there was this. So we always started with this, strategy, target operating model kind of project to be like, hey, this is the roadmap for the next 4 to 5 years. Wink, wink. We can help you for 4 to 5 years. Upsell. Yeah. But then there were some engagements as well where it was simply, I don't even know how to say this, like you were placing a consultant within the company to fill a gap that certain clients had.
Yes.
But then that is closer to, selling a commodity. Well, it's a trained person, I get it, but like it's a bit different. And I did this for a little while. But yes, consulting should be about projects and results in any case.
Yeah, we say we're not a placement firm, right? We're not a recruitment agency. There's, hundreds of those out there. You can go and reach out to them and they will place consultants for you, right? Independent consultants for you. That's not what we do, right? We provide a service, right? We're a strategic partner for you, right? We're like a co-pilot in the journey with you around change. So that helps to position us a little bit differently, attract those types of clients to us as well.
I like that. How do you, and I think you already alluded to this as well, Mumtaz, you when you sign a big engagement, right, it typically goes on for a few years. So I'm quoting PwC here a lot. I mean, mentioning them a lot. When I was there, the partner who taught me everything, one day told me the following thing, which was, Guillaume, there are two types of consultants. There are the hunters and there are the farmers. And he was like, I'm a hunter. I love
Yeah.
the smell of fresh blood in the morning. I love to go after new business. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
But the most successful people, the most successful consultants are the farmers, the ones who are able to take that initial engagement, over deliver, and transform it into a multi-layered, multi-year project involving other teams within the firm. Like those are the ones who grow the fastest because this is much more money.
Yeah.
How do you farm, Mumtaz?
How do I farm? That's a really good question.
Which is
So
your role at the
number one,
moment, right?
yeah.
The husband hunts, you
Yeah,
farm.
yeah. So number one, you have to deliver, right? You have to deliver quality results for the client that meet their expectations and their needs and helps them get to that outcome that they're hoping to get from that particular consulting engagement, that change initiative that we're typically a part of, right? So that's number one. And then number two is always having that business development hat on. Even though my husband plays the business development part in our company, I do too, right? So whenever, I'm on site with a client, my consulting teams are on site with a client, working directly with a client. We're not just delivering, we're looking at other opportunities, like you said, right? To grow and expand within that client and that organization. And that is all a conversation around value. Where can you add more value, help improve that client's condition by doing work in other areas or supporting other bigger, broader initiatives, helping them with their partners or affiliate organizations as well. So always having that business development hat on as well when you're delivering. I've seen so many consultants, especially independent consultants, who just, as soon as they're engaged on a client, they put on the blinders and they just work heads down delivering for that client, right? They forget about all the business development activity they need to be doing actively throughout the course of that engagement and beyond, right? Because you're not going to, as soon as you kind of lift your head out of the sand and finish with that client, it's not like another one's going to magically pop up. You have to sow the seeds like a good farmer, right? Till the soil, sow the seeds, water the plants in order for that to grow and flourish into some additional business, right? So that's very important. It's number one, you have to deliver and deliver to a quality standard that meets the client's expectations. And two, you have to always be having those business development conversations, not just your business development lead in the company, but you as the delivery executive as well always needs to be having those business development conversations as well.
Watch out, 100%.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about what's the next thing for you, Mumtaz? And here in the sense of, and that's going to be interesting because you're a change management consultant. So technically there shouldn't be any, but what is challenging you right now? What is the thing that if you solve, you're going to take the firm to the next level? What is that for you?
Yeah. So honestly, our biggest challenge right now isn't capacity or positioning, it's the economic environment. So we're now in this unprecedented era of uncertainty and our clients are feeling it. So with so much unplanned change hitting their businesses, many are hesitant to move forward with consulting services, even though they know they need them. So it's not about a lack of interest, it's about risk aversion right now. So leaders are sort of stuck in this wait and see mode, trying to navigate all this volatility before committing to any big transformation and change right now. The good news is the signs are hopeful. We're seeing early indicators that confidence is returning, and we're optimistic about the new year and that having that momentum back. And we know that change isn't going away. It's only accelerating, right? So when organizations are ready to act, we'll be here to help them turn that uncertainty into opportunity. We're excited about what's next. We've recently launched 2 big initiatives at Pragilis. So we've launched a new business strategy consulting line to complement our change management services. And we've also productized our transformation engine so that it's a toolkit that clients can purchase and apply as a standalone system to accelerate their transformations. So that's some of the work we're doing. We're also seeing that there's a game changer coming for the consulting industry, which is AI, artificial
My God,
intelligence, right?
shocker.
Yeah, right. So we're really weaving Gen AI into our consulting model, which blends perfectly with our outcomes-based approach. Because AI helps us deliver those results faster, smarter, more efficiently without sacrificing that quality, right? And the consulting industry is shifting, right? According to McKinsey, AI could automate up to 30% of consulting tasks by 2030, which could free up firms to focus on high value strategy and human centered leadership. And that's exactly where we want to play. So for me, this feels sort of full circle. I started in change management because I was fascinated by how technology and society intersect. And now AI is the next frontier of that story. So it's not just about tools, it's about helping people adapt to the future of our work. So our vision is to stay lean, agile, and deeply human, using technology to amplify outcomes, not replace relationships.
Thanks a lot. Mumtaz, ladies and gentlemen. Mumtaz, if people want to find out more about you and Pragilis, where should they go?
Yeah, so you can visit our website, pragilis.com. You can find us and follow us on LinkedIn. You can check out our podcast as well, called How I Lead Change. So we interview executives leading human-centered change in their organizations and feature and spotlight their stories. And then you can read more about us and the impact of our work on Clutch as well, which is independent reviews website. And we've got a nearly 5-star rating. So you can find out a little bit more about our work, read some of our case studies there as well.
I don't often say this. Actually, I've never said it so far, but those are excellent follow-ups after being a guest on the podcast. So B2B coaches and consultants listening to us right now. So immediate next step, proof with Clutch. I love this. Third-party verification. This is amazing. And call to action to a format that is similar, podcast. You know that people listen to podcasts here, so they are more likely to go there. This is an absolute masterclass. Thank you so much for coming, Mumtaz.
Thank you so much for having me on the show today, Guillaume. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.